Energetics specialize in creating sustainable, world-class dancewear for the stars of tomorrow. Perform and feel your best at every stage of your dance journey in Energetics premium high-performance fabrics. Try them out with a 20% discount site-wide using the code COD20 at the checkout, available until the end of September 2023. Shop their extensive range online at energetics.com. That's ENERGETIKS.com, and enjoy free express shipping on orders over $75.
I'm Rebecca King Ferraro.
And I'm Michael Sean Breeden, and you're listening to Conversations on Dance. This week on Conversations on Dance, we sit down with Charlotte Ballet director and international choreographer Alejandro Cerrudo. We spoke with Alejandro about his first season of programming for Charlotte Ballet, how important freedom and risk-taking are to the choreographic process, and his plans to make the company an integral part of the city's identity. If you are in the Charlotte area, you can catch the company's choreographic lab this June 9th through the 17th. To subscribe to the company's 2023-24 season, visit charlotteballet.org. Alejandro, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're very excited to hear a lot about Charlotte Ballet's just announced 23-24 season. But before we get into that, we always like to start at the beginning. If we have someone we haven't interviewed before, we'd just love to hear a little bit about your own personal artistic journey. So take us all the way back. When did you first fall in love with dance? And what was that? What was your early training, early journey with dance like?
Yeah, well, I started fairly young. I was about 9 years old. And I didn't know much about it. I just knew that my sister danced, and that's how I got curious. And bit by bit, going to ballet every day really piqued my interest until now that it became a passion and has become my career in my life. So it started very slow and then escalated very, very quickly.
Yeah. When did you realize that you wanted to pursue it professionally and make a career out of dancing?
Quite young as well. Before I finished my studies in dance, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I think that taste of being in front of an audience that gave me, really the excitement that I needed, and like many other things in life, I feel the more I got to know what dance was about, the more passionate I became, because I really was able to see the depth of what the dance can have. So it was quite early.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At what point did you start to feel like choreography would also be a pivotal focus for you, and how did you sort of balance that with your own dancing ambitions?
Yeah, that was a little bit later. I studied classical ballet in Madrid, and then I danced for a year. My first professional company was a neoclassical dance company. And then quickly I moved to Germany, and I went to Stuttgart Ballet. And there was an opportunity to do a choreographic workshop in which the dancers would choreograph on their colleagues. And I was not particularly interested in choreography itself, but I was interested in improving myself as a dancer. And I thought if I put myself in the eyes of a choreographer, I would be able to become a better dancer. So that's how the curiosity for choreography started. It was more so I could become a better professional as a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that then afterwards, after my first one and my second one, I got approached by some people, from presenters, saying that they liked what they saw and that they wanted to offer me the opportunity to create a commission work. So, and that's how it all started. It was not intentional, but then like my passion continued to grow.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's really interesting to me because we talk a lot on the podcast about like how Michael and I, once we retired and we started teaching, that kind of gives you this different perspective. You're needing to analyze your body and how the steps work in order to vocalize that and explain it to students. So hearing you talk about that in a similar experience with your choreography, I wonder how, once you did start choreographing, how did you start to kind of like implement what you were learning as from being in the front of the room to your dancing?
I'm almost right away. It really is it's an eye-opening experience to be in front of the room when you're so used to being in a way hidden among the other students. But in the front of the room, then once you put yourself there, you have a completely different perspective. So even if you're not that intentional about it, there is something that changes in you because you're more aware of what that person sees and perceives from the front of the room, you know?
Right.
Or what that person needs, really. How can you better help the person? Yeah.
I'm curious to hear a little bit about some of the early works and what your defining choreographic traits were at that point, and how you feel that might have evolved in the years since you've been making work.
Yes. Uh, so the first so I talked about how I did this choreographic workshop in Germany, and then from Germany I went on and worked for a very prestigious contemporary dance company, a Netherlands Dance Theater in The Hague. I learned a lot there. I worked with incredible artists, and then I moved here to the United States in Chicago. The company that I worked for in Chicago, they also had a choreographic workshop, and so I created a small duet that that the director really liked. The director of the time, Jim Vincent, which is he's been my mentor for since I met him. He offered me to create a work for the company. So that was my first commission work, and that experience was incredible because that work was very, very, very successful. Many other companies have acquired that work, and the company that I created on Harvard Student Chicago at that time, then we would tour a lot, and we would tour with that work. So that was my sort of the perfect business card for me because every time where Harvard Street Dance Chicago would perform that work, the audience would see my work, and agents would see my work, and other directors would see my work, and that's how we get approached to. So that was a great gift in my career. Yes, and I see how important it is to provide those opportunities to young artists, and really provide a platform where they can create without any kind of pressure of having to deliver anything in particular. Just let them work, and then really showcase their talent. So important.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, because I feel like, as you know, arts funding, I mean, it's always been tight, but I feel like, of course, even with the pandemic and things have become exacerbated, and there is sort of a pressure that when a new work is choreographed, that it needs to deliver or be a hit, or, you know, that the company can cash in on this risk they took. Maybe you could speak a little bit more to the importance of just risk and being able to explore your own creative side.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, there is a pressure associated with creating new work, especially in contemporary work. We want to always make something new. We want to innovate, and that sounds very exciting and all, but we tend to focus on, yes, there's gonna be something new and innovative, but but there is a risk factor into something, into trying to make something new and something revolutionary. So, and it's very, very difficult to do. So that's why I think these choreographic workshops are so important. And Charlotte Ballet has, we have our own choreo lab, which will be perform in 2 weeks here at the Center for Dance. And that is the one program out of our season when the choreographers really they have a free card to do whatever they're inspired to do. And next season, which is the first season that I've programmed, we're going to take it even further. It's going to be renamed now. The choreographic workshop is going to be called Flip, and it's because we're not going to only give the dancers the opportunity to create choreography, but we also going to flip roles on that side, the choreographer and dancer, but also I want to give the opportunity to our artists to look at lighting design or costume design. So we're going to see how much of that they can also poke their heads into marketing and more administrative work. So this is an opportunity for all of us to understand what other departments do, what it takes to produce a show, and at the same time to give an opportunity for development beyond the dance career that often can be quite short. And a dancer's career is often over by 35, 30, 40 if you're lucky. So, and then the big question becomes, what do I do next? So I think this is a great initiative to really start presenting the options for our artists on what might be of their interest after this great career that they have in.
Oh, I love that so much. And I love how that goes back to your roots of you starting to choreograph and how you were doing that kind of to change your perspective on things. So I want to know how the dancers get involved in this. How are you encouraging them to choose if they want to choreograph, if they want to do lighting design? What does that process look like? And have you even started it yet?
Yeah, so we're doing a small test for this year, and so far it's working really well. Of course, there are so many details that we have to figure it out as we go, but overall, I mean, it's a very exciting initiative, and I can feel that from the downstairs. I'm not imposing anything on them. I really, and when I spoke with everybody about this idea, I make clear that this is something that they need to be inspired to do. And I'm not here to force any inspiration on anyone, to do anything that they're not motivated to do. So because at the end of the day, they are art dancers. So anything out of that, that scope, they really need to want to. And we are ready. I mean, they signed up for different things, and now we're exploring how we can make that happen, and to what extent we can make that happen.
Yeah. So if you did see a dancer that you thought maybe could have a knack for choreography but didn't sign up, maybe not this year or years in the future, would you maybe approach them and ask them if they've thought about it? And
oh, definitely. Yes, I mean, I would want to encourage anyone, and for the same reason that I started choreographing. Even if you're not interested in choreographing, I think it is a good experiment to go through to become a better dancer. So even if someone would say, "Well, I'm not so interested in choreographing," even if it's just as an exercise, I think it's a good thing to do. Definitely.
Right. It just struck me that you're one of the only directors presently who choreographs. It used to be a much more popular model, that the director would also be in-house choreographer. So not only does that obviously affect this initiative we're talking about, you as a choreographer are much more adept at giving advice to other choreographers, but how do you think that impacts your role as a director? Just having that insight, maybe in particular, how you program. Being a choreographer, how does that shape what you do overall as director?
Um, well, it's really hard to tell because I'm so close to it. I'm so in it. So I don't know how much of my choreographic background influences my decisions. Obviously, they have to. I mean, it's unavoidable. But but I one of my thoughts on programming and inviting other choreographers to choreograph for Charlotte Ballet often is to let them do what they do best. So I'm not here to tell another choreographer what on how it should be done. Once I commission a work, it's because I trust that artist and I'm behind them, and I understand that they might be making a revolutionary work, or they might be making a work that is not as successful, but that that's what we're here for, to create, to experiment, and to push a little bit further. So if we want to become the best ones, we have to put that risk into it. And I just it's important for me that any artist that works with us feels that they have that full trust from me.
Maybe we could go into next season a little bit. Could we go blow by blow? Tell us what we have in store. This is your first year programming, is that right?
Yes, absolutely, and I'm super excited. I mean, the first program that we're presenting, it's called Breaking Boundaries. It's in the fall, and we're going to be performing at home at the Center for Dance. We have a black box theater, and if anyone listening to this has not been to our space, I really encourage you to come, because it's such a unique experience. You're so close to the artists, and you can hear them breathe. You can hear them, put there for the physicality. It's something that you cannot quite get by going to a proscenium stage, a regular stage theater, like
Right.
Night Theater or the Bell Theater. Those are beautiful theaters, but your experience is much more detached, because you're not nearly as close to the artist as you are when you come here. So that first program, we're gonna have a new work by Matutu Tseli November. He's a South African choreographer based in the UK, and I love his work. He's more of an emerging artist, but he's very much in demand, and he's a beautiful person to speak with. So I do know that the dancers and our audiences are going to be enriched with this new work. And then we also presenting a work by a choreographer, Ohad Naharin, and the work is called Kamuyot. And this is a work that I saw quite a few years back in New York, and I saw it. And it's one of these performances that you come out just happy with a smile on your face, and I want to see that performance. I wasn't expecting much of it, and it just really made my day so much better. So I really want to share that that experience that I had, and I hope the audience has a similar experience as I did back then. And we're also planning to transform our space with those two works. There are surprises that I don't want to give it all away, but it's going to be a very unique experience. It's that performance in particular, our first performance of the season, is going to be a performance unlike anyone has seen before in our space. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that program. Then we're of course doing our Nutcracker at the Belk Theater with the wonderful Charlotte Symphony Orchestra. And of course, I mean, that's always a beautiful time to get the family together and experience the magic of the holidays, right? It's for a lot of people, it's a tradition, and I think it's a beautiful tradition. Then after that, we're presenting our program Come to Life. That will be at the Night Theater. And we're presenting a new work by Penny Saunders. Penny, I've known Penny for many years. She's choreographed everywhere, and I'm very much looking forward to having a new work by her here at Charlotte Ballet. Then we're also presenting a work by Czech choreographer Eric Hillian. And the work is called Petit Mort. This work is one of the works that sort of transformed the way I saw dance. I used to be a classical ballet dancer, and I used to only like classical ballet until I saw this work. This is a contemporary dance work. At the time, he was the director of Netherlands Dance Theater, the company that I went to work for. So basically, I was a ballet dancer in Stuttgart. Then I came across this work, Petit Mort, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have to work with this choreographer. And I was lucky enough to get a contract and work with Yuri Kilian and many other great choreographers. So that was I went from classical ballet to contemporary dance through that work. So that's why it was so important for me to bring that work to Charlotte, because it made such an impact on me. And part of what I would love to come across with my programming is to create a taste for the audience to appreciate classical ballet and contemporary dance, to cross as much as we can those two different dance styles, and to create the appetite for both of them.
I think that even just the juxtaposition of having Petit Mort and then the next program you go to, Petit Mort, which is such like an iconic late 20th century work, and then we have Swan Lake, which is maybe the iconic 19th century work. So you are certainly like setting that up just in that transition from one program to the next.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, then we're doing Swan Lake, and that is the first time we're presenting. Charlotte Ballet is presenting Swan Lake, so it's gonna be a very exciting moment for everyone. Also with live music with the Charlotte Symphony Orchestra. So I just imagining that beautiful score and with our dancers and such a iconic ballet. I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah. I want to just rewind for a minute, because I wanted to talk about how this opportunity came about for you to become the artistic director. Now that we're talking about your first season of programming, I'm sure this was part of, you had to kind of put a vision together to present to the board. And so tell us a little bit about that process, and then what it feels like to kind of have this all starting to come to fruition now that you're there.
Well, so I mean, it was a very lengthy and challenging process to become the artistic director.
Yeah.
I feel very privileged to be in this position. I don't, I come here on full force. I really want us to. Well, first of all, I see how Charlotte Ballet was already very well positioned, and there's so much more room for us to grow. I mean, I came here. I'm excited about where we are in time right now and in space. We are in the right place at the right time. I think Charlotte, it's as everybody sees and feels, this is an amazing city that is growing so rapidly. So we are part of this growth, and it's up to us now to shape what the city is going to become in 3, 5, 10 years. So to be at the lead of Charlotte Ballet and to have this opportunity to contribute to the cultural status of the city and to really add to the to elevate this fantastic city is so exciting to me. And of course that was part of my message to the board and to everybody in the organization when I did the interview, is that I mean, this company has everything that an artistic director could wish for. We have an amazing rich program. We have a wonderful academy. We have a pre-professional program. Then we have a second company, which is it's 8 dancers that they do lecture demonstrations um so it's basically like the main company, but for more of a junior dancers. And then of course we have the main company. So this company had all the tools, and I'm here to try to continue inspiring our artists and everybody that works in this organization. And yeah, and really to share my passion and my excitement for what we do and what's ahead of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you always have aspirations to become a director? I'm thinking for choreography, it's something that you were kind of flirting with or trying out, but it wasn't, an end goal. How did the goal to be a leader in this capacity come about for you?
Slowly. I mean, I always had the utmost respect for artistic directors. It's not an easy job. And they you have a lot of responsibility. You're responsible for a lot of people, not only in the organization, but you're also responsible for the audiences, to deliver, to inspire audiences, to certain extent to challenge audiences. So when I was not always I didn't always want to be an artistic director, or that was not in my mind. But when I transitioned from dancer to choreographer, then I was very curious about producing my own show and learning from that. I didn't know if I wanted to be an artistic director, but I had the curiosity to experience what would it be like and see if I was good at it, if I liked it. So that's how I self-produced my show that was called It Starts Now. And we premiered at the Joyce Theater in New York. And then we went to Chicago at the Harris Theater a year later. So that's really when it was the test for me with producing my own show from the ground up. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any infrastructure. I didn't have I didn't have a team. I just did it. So I had to have hundreds of conversations with different people, whether it was for advice or financial aid. So I mean, there are so many aspects to it. Spoke to so many presenters, so that really gave me a sense of what this world of artistic directorship is like or could be like. And from there, then that really gave me a lot of reassurance on this path of being an artistic director.
So your name has a lot of international and national recognition. I'm wondering what plans you have to get Charlotte, I guess, on more so on the national or international stage. If you envision the company touring more often, or how you plan to kind of assert the company's identity under you to a larger audience?
So yes, I mean we're touring next season. That's actually our first performances will be in Toronto, in Canada, and that's the first time the company is going to be touring since internationally since 1981.
Wow.
So that's the first thing that we're going to do, and we've been invited by Folk for Dance North in Toronto, and we'll be there for a week. And then, I mean, for me. I mean, touring sounds phenomenal, and yes, we will be doing some touring. But I really want to focus on Charlotte and our audiences here, and make sure that we deliver here, and that we grow our audiences, that we grow the interest, and really that we are able to send the message to as many people as possible that what we do, it's a really great night out. So it's not only art and inspiring, but it's really fun and a very perhaps for many people might be a very unusual way out. Instead of going to a bar or watch a movie and on your TV, going to see dance. It's a whole different experience, and then you go for dinner and talk about what you've seen and what you like, what you didn't like so much, or what it made you think of. I think I would love for us to really become part of the lifestyle of the people here in Charlotte. And when we work on ourselves and then we continue elevating the quality and the type of programming that we present, we're gonna continue growing and becoming really hopefully the company that everybody wants to imitate. That's what I would love to do, right? And of course right now with social media and other platforms, that's the way we tell the world what we're doing and how we're doing it, and why this company is so special.
Right.
And yeah, the first step is with next season, and I hope every audience member enjoys our programming, because I'm certainly very excited myself.
Yeah. So, right, just before we let you go, we love to ask all of our artistic directors if there's one project that they have, a dream project that they would love to bring to their company. The sky's the limit. You have no budget. You can do whatever you want. What would it be? What would be something that you would just love to bring to Charlotte Ballet?
Oof, I don't know. That is a very very difficult question. I mean, there are so many specific works or artists that I would want to bring, but ultimately, my dream would be that the audience comes to see us regardless of what we're presenting. That they come to see us because they know they're going to have a good time, because they love what we do every time they come see us. So they trust the company to a point where it doesn't matter what we present. They know they're going to have a good time and they're going to come out of the theater inspired. So that is my dream, really. That we attract every Charlottean and every visitor to come and see us, regardless of the title of the work.
I love that.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that everyone that's in the Charlotte area and those that are within a reasonable drive, come on down to Charlotte and see this incredible season that you've programmed.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Conversations on Dance is part of the ACAST Creator Network. For more information, visit conversationsondancepod.com.